It's schmoozing time. So happy birthday, Vanessa and Yo-Yo. Happy birthday to Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA. DACA turns 9 today. Yo-Yo, it's going to be calling you soon to have the bar mitzvah. Okay? 9 years ago, Obama, after he was not able to get the DREAM Act passed, which has been in the works to pass a generation now. One full generation. Since around the time of 9/11, that's when the DREAM Act was first dreamt, to give children green cards and a chance who came to the United States through no fault of their own, went through school here, and then found out as adults they're not welcome, they're illegal, and they should go home. Extraordinarily unfair, and what a waste of talent and an education that we gave these children. One generation ago, we've already lost a generation, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, because the DREAM Act was started by Richard Durbin. He was one of the co-sponsors, original co-sponsors, and I believe he's a senator from Illinois, right around the time of 9/11. And it wasn't passing back then because everybody thought every person who wasn't born in America was a terrorist. So it started around 2001. A generation of people lost. One full generation of people lost. So Obama, he tried to pass it. He was not able to do it. And then he made an executive order, DACA and DAPA, Deferred Action for Parent Arrivals, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. DAPA was ultimately blocked by the court. DACA survived multiple court challenges, not only by Republicans during the Obama administration, but also by the Trump administration trying to end it. And had the Trump administration been half smart, they would have ended it. They just kept bungling ending it. And quite frankly, it was the DACA executive orders that got the pumpkins so riled up and said Obama was usurping his power as president of the United States by making sweeping executive orders to allow these children to stay in America. It actually was one of the reasons that got Donald Trump into the ring to run for president in 2016. And he was claiming Obama was abusing the executive order, which is used to make a regulation. So Obama made a regulation, and he said this group of people gets deferred action, which is a law on the books. And the president was given, under the law, sweeping authority to give groups of people deferred action for those who he believes shouldn't be deported. And he gave it to children who were living in the United States as of June 2007, residing here as of June 2012, and were under 30 years old. It was supposed to be just for a few years until they ultimately passed the DREAM Act to give some kids a break. It's now 9 years later. We're still debating DREAM Act. You really can't find people. It's really hard to find somebody who says kids who came here, who grew up here, went to school here, never committed a crime. Some kids came here 3, 4, 5 years old, don't even know what their home country looks like. This is their country. They're as American as us.
Right.
Yeah.
Still not passed. Still not passed. Now, according to the Pew Research Center survey conducted between June 4th and June 10th, 2020, 74%, 3 out of 4 Americans favor passing the DREAM Act. 91% of Democrats favor passing the DREAM Act. Goddamn thing still can't get passed.
That's wild.
Now, I will tell you this. I have met with a few young adults who qualify for DACA and are scared to enter the DACA program. They think maybe the next president is going to end it. I don't think if Trump wasn't able to end it, it's not going to end until a law passes to give you a green card. And I can tell you, for the few people who are not in the DACA program, who qualify, I am talking to the few who do not or have not applied or applied late. You can now apply late again and get into it. And for those who have not extended their DACA, I'm talking to you also. Don't be a fool. Do it. If Trump wasn't able to end it, it's not going to end until it becomes a law to grant you a green card. And you are going to be a very, very sorry person. This is exactly what I told this person the other day who I spoke to on a consultation. I'm giving everyone my consultation that I just gave this person the other day. I said, you're going to be an extraordinarily sorry person if you say you're scared to do it. And ultimately, what's going to happen is eventually, at some point in time, there will be a law that passes, I assure you, for people in the DACA program to be granted their green cards. And I told this person, and I'll tell everybody else who's not in the DACA program, you will be an extraordinarily sorry person when it happens and you missed out. You'll be extraordinarily sorry person. So I'm saying it, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. There is new U visa policy, so I do want to talk about it. It is for people who are the victims of crimes. And there are extraordinarily much larger percentage of immigrants who are out of status, who are the victims of crimes by U.S. citizens and residents against them, than what Donald Trump said was that undocumented immigrants were committing crimes against Americans. It's actually more the other way. There are so many people who are the victims of serious crimes that there is a waiting list of over a decade from the time that you apply for a U visa before immigration even looks at your application. That's how many applications they have, hundreds of thousands. And these are serious crimes. We're not talking about a minor crime against you. We're talking serious crimes. If you are qualified for a U visa, if you are the victim of a serious crime, you help the authorities investigate that crime, and you have some sort of injury as a result of it. Those are the three components for the U visa. The problem with the U visa is that after you file it, it doesn't give you any status. You had to show humanitarian reasons why you deserved a work permit, and you waited over a decade for immigration to review your case. What a shame. Shame on immigration that somebody would be the victim of a serious crime and then have to wait a decade just to get anything from the immigration service after they came forward and helped investigate that crime. Shame on immigration. So at least the Biden administration has recognized this, and they are now going to give bona fide determinations, just like they do in the VAWA cases, Vanessa. Like when you file a VAWA case, immigration takes a quick look at it. And if they say that it appears that you meet all the qualifications without reading every last thing in your application, they give you a prima facie determination to allow you to get government assistance. This is similar, but instead of giving you a prima facie determination, USCIS is going to take a cursory look at your U visa application. If you meet all of the requirements for the U visa, you are the victim of a serious crime. You helped investigate that crime. You helped the investigators bring the perpetrator to justice. You cooperated with the authorities. And you have some injury, whether it's psychological or physical. They will look at that, check. And instead of giving you a prima facie determination, they're calling it something different. They're going to call it a bona fide determination, meaning that your case appears bona fide. It appears approvable. When they do that, you will be put in deferred enforced departure status, just like a DACA recipient. Same exact thing. It's an executive order to put a group of people in deferred enforced departure status. You will get that deferred enforced departure status for 4 years. And what happens when you're in deferred enforced departure status? You get to apply for your work permission, and you have a letter from the government promising not to deport you. You are now safe. So for all the U visa applicants out there who are waiting years and years and years and years and years, now you will at least get a benefit while you're waiting. And this not only goes for people who are actively filing their applications now, but also they're going to go back and look at all the hundreds of thousands of applications that are currently pending. So hopefully those applications are bona fide. And if you don't get that bona fide determination, that doesn't mean your case will be denied. It just means it gets put in a different pile. You'll hear from immigration years down the line, you're going to get an RFE. You know, my opinion is, now I'm thinking about it as a lawyer, if you filed something, you didn't get that bona fide determination, maybe you're smarter to withdraw it and refile again and make sure you get it. But that is the new U visa policy, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. So we're talking about the DACA recipients. DREAM Act came around 9/11. People were terrified of terrorists coming. Donald Trump even now says immigrants are all terrorists. Remember the famous day he came down? It's famous because it was a sad famous day, not a positive famous day. A sad famous day when he came down the escalator of Trump Tower and he announced he's going to run for president, and the first words out of his mouth were that Mexicans are rapists, murderers, terrorists. We have to stop every immigrant from coming into America because we have to stop the terrorists. It's the immigrants who are the terrorists. Well, turns out he couldn't be further from the truth. According to the National Security Council, the number one domestic terrorist threat in the United States is white supremacists, people born in America. Not people running across the border, not immigrants coming to kill us. Not to say that every immigrant is a good person. There are bad people in every group. But the number one threat in America today is not coming from across the border. It's white supremacists born in the United States of America. So Joe Biden, who's been traveling in Europe, he said in a statement, domestic terrorism, I'm quoting the president, domestic terrorism driven by hate, driven by bigotry, driven by extremism, is a stain on the soul of America. It goes against everything our country strives for, and it poses a direct challenge to our national security, our democracy, and our unity. So now moving forward, the Justice Department has implemented a new system to methodically track domestic terrorists nationwide. They're going to be evaluating and they're also going to be evaluating whether the administration should recommend to Congress to pass a specific domestic terrorism law. Do you know there is no law against domestic terrorism in the United States right now?
Really?
No law. So if somebody commits an act of terrorism, you could arrest that person for their act of violence, shooting somebody, blowing up something, making a conspiracy to kill somebody. But there's no separate law that says we're going to charge you with being a terrorist.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Even when you invade the nation's capital?
Even when you invade the nation's capital,
property?
There was no terrorism law for people born in the United States. The terrorism law is for people not born in the United States. And but there was a law against overthrowing the U.S. government, sedition. There's a law of trespassing, committing destruction to government property, threatening government officials. Those are all laws, but there's no domestic terrorism law.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the government has a plan. They're going to include an effort to identify government employees who also pose a domestic terrorism threat. They say it's been hard to track how often extremists driven by religious, racial, and anti-government bias commit violence in the United States because there is no terrorism law, so nobody's been keeping track. Officials say now the Justice Department has made domestic terrorism a top priority, has been reallocating resources at U.S. attorneys' offices and at FBI field offices across the United States to combat the threat. They're adding $100 million to the Justice Department to do it. Point is, they are now recognizing that the number one threat, white supremacy in America, domestic terrorism. Meanwhile, we have some good news on coronavirus. Even though America surpassed 600,000 deaths in the last 24 hours. Governor Cuomo in the state of New York has declared in New York, we are no longer in a pandemic. He is opening up the entire state of New York to pre-pandemic, whatever it was pre-pandemic. Right? He is having a celebration this evening. There will be no more restrictions, no more quarantining. You can wear a mask. You don't have to wear a mask unless it's mandated by the federal government in certain buildings, because sometimes the federal government trumps the state government. But in New York, Governor Cuomo says, it's over. Put a fork in it. We're done. COVID is no longer, it still exists. Not to say it doesn't exist, but it doesn't pose a statewide health emergency threat anymore in the state of New York. 70% of New Yorkers are now vaccinated. And as a result of that, that is what most scientists believe is the herd immunity to prevent COVID from coming back as a mass pandemic that we have to be concerned about. You still may have to be concerned about it on an individual basis, not to say it doesn't exist anymore, but from a public health standpoint, where we all have to quarantine, we all have to wear masks, we all have to social distance, we all have to leave the restaurant by 9 p.m., we can't go to a club, we can't go to a concert, we can't go to a sporting event. Put a fork in it, yo-yo. It's over.
That's it. It's over.
It's over.
Summertime fine.
New York State, it's over. And in celebration at 8:30, right when we get off the air, Governor Cuomo is having fireworks, I think on the East River, to celebrate our new, I guess, is it new independence? Our new, what is it that we're getting? I don't know. But we're celebrating something that we get to go back to the old way.
Celebrating normality.
Normalcy, our new normal. Celebrating our new normal.
Our new normal, which was our old normal, but we're going to call it new since it's been a while.
Yeah, whatever that means, yes. And California, for those living in California, your restrictions are being lifted also. Governor Newsom says America's not back till California's back. Guess what? California's back today too. So congratulations to all our friends out in California. Your restrictions are being lifted too. I don't think Governor Newsom's giving you fireworks like Governor Cuomo's giving us. We get fireworks over on this side. Yesterday, a person was killed and 3 others were wounded in Georgia after a man went crazy because he was asked to wear a mask in a store. The alleged gunman started arguing with a cashier at the Big Bear supermarket in Decatur, Georgia, over his face mask. The agency said preliminary information indicates that the shooter, Victor Lee Tucker of Palmetto, Georgia, left the store without making a purchase. He returned shortly thereafter, started shooting up the place.
Oh my God.
You see, this is the whole point. Because guns are readily available. If someone tells you to take off your mask and you get so disturbed and angry, but you don't have access to a gun, what are you going to do? You're going to be like, God damn, you know, and just maybe you want to punch somebody in the face and throw stuff, but the people aren't getting killed. Either that or do what Chris Rock says, make the bullet $5,000. This guy will go out, be really angry, say, oh, I don't want to spend $5,000 on this bullet to kill somebody.
Or might not even have it.
Yeah, that's right. He said, God damn it, I gotta go to work to make some money to buy a bullet to come back and kill this guy.
That part. See?
But since that's not the case, let me go home real quick, grab something I got, and I was really upset about this.
Yes.
So this obviously
it's just too easy to get guns and shoot people. That's the problem. It's too easy.
Yeah.
So when people get angry, when people get mad, you know, and people say, oh, let's keep guns away from crazy people, everybody gets angry. I get angry. The two of you get angry. I don't know if I've ever gotten angry enough to go and kill somebody, but I've gotten angry in my life. And when you get angry, your emotion takes over. And that happens to a lot of people, or they feel disrespected. And if you feel disrespected but don't have a gun, you can hit, you can punch, you can throw things, you can yell and scream, but nobody's getting killed. Look who it is! It's Mr. Rhymes! Thank you, Mr. Rhymes. All right, so what's up with this Chrissy Teigen, Vanessa? You wanted to talk about her.
I'm upset. I'm like a big Chrissy Teigen fan until I realized, you know, she was probably a mean girl, and I can't wait to hear from Yo-Yo about this one. Because I was a big Chrissy fan until everything came to light, because I love John Legend, I bought the package.
She's a bully.
My homegirl.
She's a bully.
Is trifling.
She is a bully with a capital B and end of the Y. Now, she wrote, let's get a little background here, and I'm sure Yo-Yo has some things to say. She wrote, as you know, a bunch of my old awful tweets resurfaced. I'm truly ashamed of them. As I look at them and understand the hurt they caused, I have to stop and wonder, how could I have done that? You know, the one thing is, these were done a long time ago. Can you blame somebody for something they said 10 years ago or 15 years ago if they're truly sorry today? Now, she's prolific on social media. She's 35 years old, and she went silent online after Courtney Stodden, who uses they, them pronouns, accused Teigen of bullying them in private messages. The pleasure singer, 26, told the Daily Beast in May she wouldn't just publicly tweet about wanting me to take a dirt nap, but would privately DM me and tell me to kill myself. Things like that. Things like, I want you to die. Now, in a since-deleted Twitter post from January 2011, Teigen wrote about Lindsay Lohan also. She wrote, Lindsay adds a few more slits to her wrists when she sees Emma Stone coming. Teigen was making light of the actress's admission that she cut herself and tried to commit suicide in the past. Now, Lohan has not commented on Teigen's bullying, but Lindsay's mom, Dina, told the Post that the 2011 post did upset everybody in the family. Fans are also asking to say sorry to that little girl who won the Oscar, who was Oscar nominated for Beasts of the Southern Wild. Am I pronouncing her name right? I know who she is. Kwavanzi Wallace. Did I pronounce her name right?
Say her name.
I could.
Yeah.
Kwavanzi Wallace. I'm pronouncing her name right. A 9-year-old girl she was bullying.
Yeah.
She won the Best Dressed award at the ceremony, but Teigen commented in since deleted tweets. What did she comment? That it's okay to call a small child cocky. I'm forced to like Kwavanzi Wallace because she's a child, right? Okay, fine. She was calling out everybody. Yeah. So she's a bully. And she was making her, you know, and that's a Twitter thing. That's what you do on Twitter. You make your outlandish comments. You take your position. She did it a long time ago. Twitter's all about haters. A lot of them on Twitter. You know, it's hard to make a voice for yourself and be even killed. Everybody's trying to be outlandish, to say something outlandish and be heard amongst all the Twitter feeds. Was this Chrissy Teigen trying to publicize her voice? Is this who she really is? Has she really changed? Can you hold her responsible for something she did 7 years ago? I'm listening while I drink my tea. You guys tell me.
So those are all questions that I don't think anybody has the answers to except for her. Like, we don't know if she truly felt like, I honestly feel like she did truly feel that way. Of course, you do use Twitter to speak your voice and like put your opinions and your thoughts on the website, but like you don't, or that platform, but you don't really think, especially when you're not famous yet, you don't really think that they're going to resurface, or you might, you know, that you'll get famous and then people are going to go back and look at all your tweets. But this is what happens so many times. Same thing happened with Kevin Hart and using homophobic slurs and stuff, you know. So it's unfortunate that, you know, we have, the only reason why we're actually caring is because she's a celebrity. But there's so many people out there in this world that say the same thing, you know. So I honestly think that this was what she really felt. I heard that a lot of her business is like getting messed up. Like, I guess she has like a cookbook or something like that. And, you know, and it took her a while to apologize, because we've talked about this a while ago, you know, and the fact that she's just now apologizing, it kind of reminds me of Chris Brown and Rihanna. When Chris Brown finally apologized after beating her like months after. So it's kind of like, are you really sorry?
Now, just follow up on that. Teigen's cookware and dining sets have been pulled from multiple outlets, including Bloomingdale's, Target's, Macy's. She apologized, Teigen. However, fashion designer and former Project One Ray contestant Michael Costello took to Instagram to detail how Teigen and her stylist Monica Rose attempted to blacklist him from the fashion industry, which he says he still feels traumatized, depressed, and has thoughts of suicide.
Yeah.
It's too many people saying too many things, and if you say
that are
it,
very similar.
And if you if you say it, you kind of believe it.
Yeah, and I also don't know about that. Like 7 years ago, like she's been with John Legend for quite a while. Sometimes she had a platform at that point. Is it as big as it is now? No, but she's still a model, which makes you someone that is a public figure. And even if it was like, I could see, because sometimes she has like this sense of humor, like she's known for like her sense of humor and like her wittiness, like it was like overdone, and now you're bullying online. Like there's sarcasm and like being goofy, but then there's like just being mean.
Well, I mean, how old is she? It's not like she was like 15 years old when she did this. She was an adult when she was in her late 20s when she said this, and she was already extraordinarily popular. So she has to use her smarts to know what's right and wrong, and if she really believes this, and this is what she believes. I mean, I don't think people.
She wasn't as popular yet. But like, you know, she's kind of like Nesquik said, she's kind of known for her wittiness and like her sarcastic tweets. She talks mad crap about Donald Trump, and like, you know, it used to be really bad, and like a lot of people would like that, you know. So they liked it when she talked about people that, you know, the majority of the people hated. But obviously, you know, it goes both ways, because there's some people that you just shouldn't be talking about.
I mean, a very good point. I mean, if she bashes Donald Trump, people are like, yeah, go girl. You bash a 9-year-old cute little girl who just, you know, at the Academy Awards. Come on.
It's like some things just talk to your homegirls about. Like, make jokes with your friends. You can't just be, you know, you have to also understand that your platform is so big, and, you know, it affects a lot of people.
After years out of spotlight, Lindsay Lohan's coming back from all of this. Lindsay Lohan can thank Chrissy Teigen for making a comeback. She just got a new Netflix holiday rom-com that's going to come out next year, because she started getting into all the news again because of this whole Chrissy Teigen thing. Lindsay Lohan coming out of retirement after being bullied by Chrissy Teigen 7-8 years ago.
I actually love that. And the fact that she didn't say anything yet about the bullying, I love it. That's the best way to get, you know, any type of revenge is success.
Yeah, you know, and by the way, it's not just Lindsay Lohan. I mean, Britney Spears. All right, she's getting a fresh look back at.
I'm so disappointed, y'all. I can't tell you how disappointed I am in Chrissy. Like, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, because again, it's like the go girl when it's like witty and sarcastic to what's humorous to us, right? But then, yeah, it's just not funny, sis. You really stretched it.
But I think Yo-Yo has a good point. You know, you know, it's you know, if you make fun of people don't like, then it's okay. But if you make fun of people that people like, maybe it's not okay.
And then when you're making fun of people who are going through things, like Lindsay Lohan has been going through things most of her life. You know, she's been in jail. You saw a picture of her with an ankle monitor, drugs, rehab, almost died how many times. So it's like, you're talking about somebody who needs help. You know, those are helpless people. These are people that actually need help, not other people to kind of, you know, down them. So
let me ask you a question. Okay, you go after the president. he has a platform to respond to. That's fair game. To go after a famous actor or actress or model, is there a difference between those two? They're both out there. They're both in the public sphere. They're both putting themselves out there for both positive and negative. Is there a difference between a politician, an actor, and actress? Just so you know, for libel and slander law, the laws are different for famous people than non-famous people. You know,
really?
Yeah, you have because the law assumes that a famous person would have his or her own platform to respond better to a libel and slander versus a private person, where there's a lower threshold that you have to prove.
Oh, that makes sense.
But what do you think? Is there a difference between going after politicians and going after other? I mean, Lindsay Lohan was going through a lot of bad stuff, committing suicide. Why would you go attack somebody when they're down?
Low.
It's a low thing.
Yeah.
So low.
It's not tasteful at all.
A Discovery reality TV competition, a Russian medical thriller, and more productions are all heading to outer space next year. The Discovery channel is seeking to cast 10 would-be astronauts to compete in a reality series, Who Wants to Be an Astronaut? Every week you get voted off the spaceship. Do you want to do this? The winner will get a real-life trip to the International Space Station.
You're so out of this world. This part is calling for you, Yo-Yo.
Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo. This is astronaut Yo-Yo reporting to duty. I'm here. Astronaut Yo-Yo. What do you think?
Could you
No, where are they? Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I think it's really a great show.
I think you don't want to do it.
I don't know if this is.
I'm afraid of heights. I already hate flying.
I think Yo-Yo would be like that Russian singer who was begging to be voted off.
Right. Exactly.
Do you remember that? The Russian singer who wanted to be voted off and he went all the way. Yo-Yo every week would be like, please, I don't want to go to space. Please vote me off. And then they keep voting him on.
Dr. Love for space.
Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.